Welcome to Adaptive Leadership in a Nutshell, a summary of Chapter 12 of Peter North's 2019 book titled Leadership. The goal of adaptive leadership is to encourage people to change and to learn new ways of living so that they may effectively meet their challenges and grow in the process. The practice of leadership requires that leaders address three kinds of challenges: ones that are primarily technical, ones that have both technical and adaptive components, and ones that are primarily adaptive in nature. Technical challenges are problems in the workplace, community, or self that are clearly defined with known solutions that can be implemented through existing organizational procedures. For technical challenges, people look to the leader for the solution, and they accept the leader's authority to solve the problem. An example of a technical challenge would be going to a doctor for a broken leg or appendicitis. The doctor is an expert who can do x-rays or tests to clearly define the problem, and then he corrects it through a known intervention or treatment. Some challenges have both technical and adaptive dimensions. These are challenges that are clearly defined but do not have distinct, straightforward solutions within the existing organizational system. The responsibility of addressing the problem is shared between the leader and the people. Being diagnosed with high blood pressure would be an example of a challenge that is both technical and adaptive. Diagnosing high blood pressure is done through a simple procedure. Part of the solution to the problem would be technical, in that medication can be given in response to high blood pressure. A second component of the solution would be adaptive, as one would need to come to understand and change lifestyle components that are contributing to the high blood pressure. Finally, adaptive challenges are challenges that are not clear-cut or easy to identify. They cannot be solved solely by the leader's authority or expertise, or through the normal ways of doing things in an organization. An example of an adaptive challenge might be an elderly person who cannot renew their license due to some combination of physical, cognitive, and visual factors. The solution to the problem of not being able to drive could become rather complex, and would require some level of adaptation from both the person who is no longer able to drive and those that would be surrounding him or her. This could mean any number of things, including, but not limited to, impact to schedule, impact to where one lives, a need to learn new skills, impact on mental health, and impact on relationships with others. North's 2019 created a visual representation of the major components of adaptive leadership. The first step is always to define the type of challenge that one is facing. While addressing technical challenges is an important part of leadership, adaptive leadership is concerned only with challenges that have an adaptive component to them. The middle column of this figure lists the 6 leader behaviors that play a pivotal role in the process of adaptive leadership. Taken together, these behaviors suggest a kind of recipe for being an adaptive leader. The first adaptive leadership behavior is to get on the balcony. In this step, the adaptive leader is urged to step away from the conflict in order to see it fully, but never to dissociate entirely from the conflict. Effective adaptive leaders move back and forth as a participant and an observer between the struggles of their people and the intentions of the organization or community. The second adaptive behavior is that of identifying adaptive challenges. Central to this step is distinguishing between technical and adaptive challenges and matching the response to the type of challenge. Adaptive challenges are ones that leaders will be unable to solve by themselves and will thus focus the leader on collaboration with followers. The next adaptive leadership behavior is to regulate distress in both self and others. Adaptive work often comes with some combination of loss of competence, loss of familiarity, or loss of comfort. Adaptive leaders need to hold themselves and their followers through this loss. Adaptive leaders must also create spaces where people feel safe to tackle difficult problems, but not so safe that they are able to avoid them. Specific ways that leaders can manage the stress of adaptive work include providing direction, protection, orientation, conflict management, and proactive norms. Next, adaptive leaders need to maintain disciplined action. The adaptive leader's job is to help people address change rather than avoid it, by mobilizing and encouraging people to drop their defenses and openly confront the problem. The fifth adaptive leadership behavior is that of giving the work back to the people. This includes empowering people to decide what to do in circumstances where they feel uncertain, expressing belief in their ability to solve their own problems, and encouraging them to think for themselves rather than doing the thinking for them. Finally, adaptive leaders protect leadership voices from below by being careful to listen to and be open to ideas of people that may be at the fringe, marginalized, or even deviant from the group or organization. In addition to giving voice to outgroup members, an adaptive leader will need to manage the distress of creating this kind of social disequilibrium. The final column of Northhouse Adaptive Leadership Diagram outlines the adaptive work of creating holding environments and the importance of reciprocal actions, communication, and relationships. Adaptive work is the result of communication between leader and follower that better allows the follower to accomplish the task or goal. Adaptive work is ultimately relational work, as it involves constructing an unknown future together.